right mix when we're talking about kind of the peaks and the troughs, and if you can kind of identify when that energy around you, that positive energy is on the way up. If you can kind of jump onto that bandwagon and really enjoy that kind of positive energy, I think that's a great thing we can be doing. But as you said, on the flip side of that, if there is some negative energy around you and you're kind of getting dragged down for everything else that's going on, that can be something which is hard for people to take, and especially at this time when we're still going through the COVID pandemic, people are still working from home in front of the camera, having to do thousands of video calls throughout the year. Um, it's just one of those things, isn't it? It's just if you can get that good energy, then that's great. But man, it is a downward spiral. You need to try and promote yourself as a confident person when it's negative.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Transform You live show. It is a pleasure to be back with you guys. It seems like it's been forever since we did a most recent episode where we are delivering exclusively to you. So, those who are part of our YouTube channel, our loyal few, we thank you. We want you to check it out, though, however. So, if you haven't already, do check it out. And we want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor as well. Our sponsor is the Survive Podcast, survivepodcast.com. It is a podcast that does give good out good information and provides a platform for those who have been victims of child sexual abuse. So it is not for the faint of heart. Be of best judgment when you do check it out. It does contain some graphic information and graphic details. Uh, Regardless of the fact, we do have some good information we're giving to you today, some great details. I'm joined by, as always, my good friend, good host, co-host, Paul Greaves. How's it going?
Marcus, I'm very well, thank you. And yeah, it's great to be back. It's been a while, but yeah, it's like when you see a good old friend. It's really good to be back with you. So how are you doing today, Marcus?
I'm doing quite excellent. I'm doing real well. There's definitely been uh, quite a bit of changes that have been happening across our country. Things that can definitely impact our energy, that can change the way we feel and the way we interact with each other. Things that happen in my own personal life that can make me feel down and maybe I may not show up as my best self sometimes. And that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about how can you show up and be your best self and exert that confidence or that good energy that people want to feel when they in your presence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Marcus, you're so right, about that. And no, specifically, when you're talking about being in front of the camera or in front of the microphone, you really want to project your best self. And sometimes it can be hard work doing it. So yeah, definitely understand where you're coming from on that one.
Yeah, it is. It's quite a bit of struggle. I'm just thinking it back to just beginning of this week. I got the worst news ever. I heard of a close friend of mine passing away, and boy, I still had to be in front of the camera. I still had to have these meetings, and then you just factor in the fact that Texas got their situation going on. The weather has been flippy floppy, and now here in the East Coast and also in the Central where I'm located, you're on the East Coast. The weather's getting back better, and you feel a little guilty about that. But with all of the shifts of energy, it does take it can take you clean out of your game, but it can also spring you up too. And sometimes when you notice that spring of just energy shifting around you, you got to jump on it. I think that's going to be the number one tip to give people is like when you noticing things around you shifting around, and if it's positive, if it's something good, rather it be something as simple as the weather change. When it's good weather, we're talking about good weather, of course. For some people, snow. can be pleasant for them. If snow is pleasant for you, that could be used as a springboard to for you to just cling on to that and say, hey, this is a reason for me to show up.
Yeah, Marcus, you're so right on that one. And yeah, well, personally for me, snow, I do not like the snow. Can't wait for the spring. But you're so right when we're talking about kind of the peaks and the troughs, and if you can kind of identify when that energy around you, that positive energy, is on the way up, you can kind of jump onto that bandwagon and really enjoy that kind of positive energy. I think that's a great thing we can be doing. But as you said, on the flip side of that, if there is some negative energy around you and kind of getting dragged down with everything else that's going on around, that can be something which is hard for people to take, and especially at this time when we're still going through the COVID pandemic, people are still working from home in front of a camera, having to do thousands of video calls throughout the year.
Yeah.
Um, it's just one of those things, isn't it? It's just if you can get on that good energy, then that's great. But man, it is a downward spiral if you're on some negative energy and you need to try and promote yourself as a confident person when you're not feeling that way.
That word bandwagon you use is quite interesting, and it is quite funny. Whenever I hear the word bandwagon, I immediately think about people just switching from one team to the other when the playoff time is right around the corner or something, when they see their team is losing, and so they start riding on the team that is winning. But that's a real good word though to put in place, and then to magnify that the fact that yes, we are on thousands of Zoom calls, we are virtually connecting in some way, shape of another, rather it be FaceTime, rather it be Zoom, if you're at school talking to the teacher or not talking to the teacher. uh, or you may be with a client, with a new client, and you're trying to figure out how to get through that meeting. These things are part of our life, and so jumping on that bandwagon and getting on the winning side of things is the best way to get some positive emotions going. And laughter, the fact that we can laugh right now in this moment, identify when you can laugh, and laughing at yourself. This perfect remedy for just when things like feeling like it's about to go left. Uh, Sometimes you have to trick yourself into feeling like, okay, I may not be in a smiley, laughy mood right now. Maybe if I just give myself a half a smile and just take a pause right there, it'll eventually come out. There's going to be something in the moment that's going to either remind me of something that happened last week or several weeks ago that get that energy pumping.
Yeah, as you were mentioning there, if you can crack that smile and try and think about something positive that's happened in the past, and it's really hard work, but if you can keep working on it and keep seeing that, that positivity that is coming, I think that's something which we can all take away from this. But as you were mentioning there, when you're talking about it, you're on FaceTime, if you're on a video call with a client, if you're talking to, your friends via Zoom or something. There's so many
Yeah.
ways we have to be in front of the camera at the moment, and it's I do, just even thinking about it, it's exhausting, and I think it's really hard to try and think about how many hours we spent doing, video calls over the past year and a half, and I think everyone needs to take a step back and think how well we've done to get through this and still come out with some kind of positivity and not just simply, closing the screen and just, you know, being like a hermit and not coming out at all.
Yeah. It's that flexibility. And that's really key. When you're able to be flexible, I think that openness to just to newness of like each moment is what allows you to get through that moment when it seems tough. I believe also firmly that like when you're literally flexible too, like in the literal sense too, like sometimes we get very comfortable, and in that comfortability, like if you've been just sitting through these meetings, literally sitting through these meetings the whole time, maybe change it up a bit, maybe start standing when you are on FaceTime, or are you in front of the computer. Sometimes many people that may not have the means to invest in a standing desk. I have a standing desk. um, if you can't, put it on top of your dresser, put it somewhere where it would allow you to stand up for the meeting if you got wireless connection, or tap into that Zoom call from your phone so that you can walk around and really start getting that energy moving. And that flexibility, that openness will get you through that moment, whatever is happening. And science proves this too. Science proved this, that we are best ready for flight or fight when we are on our feet rather than down.
Definitely, Marcus. You hit the nail on the head on that one. When it comes to flexibility, if you're just sitting in the same position for 8, 9 hours a day in front of the screen, then you're not ready for anything. You're going to be ready for the grave earlier than you're supposed to be there. So it's so important to really use that energy, create that energy, even if it's, as you said, moving from a different room, standing up. You know, Instead of using your laptop, you're using your cell phone to create these calls. I was talking to my parents earlier in London, and I just on my phone and just sat on the couch, and it just gives you a little bit more kind of energy when you're
Yeah.
more relaxed in a different kind of atmosphere. And just listening to you talk about that, I can really, yeah, I have like certain areas where you will feel that different kind of energy when you're talking to someone. Be it, if it is a business call, if it's with friends or family, or with loved ones. Definitely different kind of spaces in or even outside can really help with that kind of that flow of energy, I suppose.
Yeah, and we're gonna be approaching that time when we're gonna be able to get back outside too, and it's gonna be really powerful to be able to utilize some of that nature, some of that natural flow of air coming in, and be able to digest that oxygen again. So really looking forward to that. So thank you for bringing that up. So,
Yeah, same for me.
yeah, absolutely. So if we can put some final touches on this thing, and just like looking back on this conversation so far, being that we are virtually too and working remotely, uh, what's like kind of like the first thing that come to mind that Paul, you might want to just kind of like give off to the audience, to like kind of tell that gentleman or that woman out there that, like, hey, next time you on that Zoom call, or you on that FaceTime call, or Messenger, whatever you use to connect with somebody remotely. There's nothing to worry about. There's a way you can you lift somebody else up if they need to be lifted up, and at the same time keep yourself lifted up. And close that deal
Yeah,
if
I
you're
think
closing the
it's
deal.
one of those one. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if it's a business one, it might be a different thing, but I think we all need to realize that we're pretty much all in the same situation. Everyone's working from an office at home, a spare room at home, in the
Yeah.
corner of the kitchen. So everyone is trying to put their best face kind of in front of the camera, and you don't know what's happening. 2 foot either side of that screen in front of you. So really,
Right.
just understand that what your situation is exactly the same what's going on with 90% of the other people in front of you. So it's just really just understanding that this is hopefully a kind of a stopgap thing that's going on, but
Mhm.
it's getting that energy. It's putting everything that you can towards that person you're talking to, because you're having that connection. Even if it's over Wi-Fi, the internet, you still need to give that kind of that positivity to that other person, and hopefully you get that back from them as well. So I think that's like my kind of takeaway from this. And if there's any kind of advice to give to our audience out there, what do you think about it?
I love that advice. That's very powerful. I think the audience should really take that in. That's instant application right there. And only thing I would add and put the cherry on the top on that is just realize that, like, hey, be open to any situation. All situations are new times, new time periods that we are stepping into, and when we are stepping into a new second or a new moment of our lives, there's opportunity to make corrections as we go, and be willing to pace yourself. Don't rush yourself, and make use of everything around you that is organic. You don't need any coffee. You don't need any drug. You don't need anything. You have everything you need within you, and most importantly, you got the person in front of you to really concentrate on, and really just pull from them. So I pull from Paul a lot, so he doesn't
Yeah.
realize this.
I'm I'm the
Yeah,
same for you. I get that
yeah,
from you, Marcus, as
yeah.
well.
Sometimes if we just listen first and then respond, eh, then we can, yeah, and then learning how to ask the right questions, we can make for a good conversation. So, um, yeah, close that deal, and because we're always closing deals in some way, shape, or form. So that's all we have for you, ladies and gentlemen, out there, and my fresh special friend out there who continues to be a loyalist to us. So thank you guys for helping us make this wonderful podcast what it is. We are now on Pandora, so all of our new Pandora listeners, um, we want to shout you out right now. So Pandora listeners, welcome to the Transform You Live show. So we want to make you a transformer, and simply, it's very easy. It's just simply add it to your collection on Pandora. They call it a collection. They don't call it subscribing. So just add it to your collection. Love every episode that you can binge on. We have a huge collection of archive stuff that goes way back. We got over 290 episodes. And Paul recently joined us last year, but he has quite a bit of the archive too. So check out some solo episodes that Paul have done, and as well as many of our collaborations. So we want to invite you all back. We doing this weekly, staying consistent. We finally got a real good system. Keeping it well oiled here. So so no more hiatus. Um, and check us out on Instagram at Transform You Live Show. That's Transform the letter U Live Show. Instagram is where you can find us at, or check out transformupodcast.com, and more podcasts that are great, such as ours, are there as well. Paul, share your Twitter, by the way.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, my Twitter handle is at runnerpaul81. So at runnerpaul81, and yeah, just connect with me on there, and yeah, be great to meet people.
Excellent. So subscribe, rate, review. Until next time, many blessings, peace, and lots of love.